There's a version of you sitting in front of the charts right now that believes you're close to understanding, close to consistency, close to finally getting it. But that version of you is the exact reason you're still stuck, because what you're trying to do is succeed in trading without becoming the person who actually wins. And that's where everything breaks. You think trading is about learning more strategies, more confirmations, more indicators, but professional traders, they don't win because they know more. They win because they think differently, and not in a motivational way, not in a stay positive way, in a way that would feel completely unnatural to you. Because the truth is, if you could step inside the mind of a professional trader, you wouldn't feel inspired, you'd feel uncomfortable, maybe even disturbed, because they don't see the market the way you do. You see opportunity, they see risk, you see a chance to win, they see a probability of loss, you see a setup forming and feel excitement, they see the same setup and feel nothing. That's the first crack in your identity, because you've been trained by everything around you to feel something when money is involved. Excitement, fear, hope, urgency. But professionals, they've removed all of that, not because they're stronger than you, but because they had to kill the version of themselves that needed it, and you haven't done that yet. You still want trading to feel good. You want validation. You want confirmation. You want that moment where the market proves you were right. Professionals don't care about being right. That's not a mindset shift. That's an identity shift. Because right now, your identity is built around being right. You open trades to confirm your analysis. You hold trades to avoid being wrong. You close trades early to protect your ego. Everything you do is psychologically wired to protect who you believe you are. But the market doesn't reward identity, it destroys it. And that's why this shift will break you. Because to think like a professional, you have to let go of things that feel like survival. You have to accept loss before it happens. Not tolerate it, not deal with it, accept it. A professional trader enters a trade already at peace with losing. Think about that. Before the trade even plays out, the loss is already mentally processed. There's no shock, no anger, no hesitation. Now compare that to you. You enter a trade already imagining the win. You see the profit. You feel the excitement. You start calculating what it will do for you. And the moment price goes against you, everything inside you resists it. That resistance, that's your identity, fighting reality. Professionals don't fight reality. They align with it. This is where the real shift begins. Not in your strategy, not in your entries, but in what you expect from the market. You expect to win, they expect nothing. And that difference is everything. Because expectations create emotions, and emotions create mistakes. When you expect a trade to work, you hesitate to cut it. When you expect a move to continue, you hold too long. When you expect consistency too early, you overtrade. But when you expect nothing, there's nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to chase. That's the second crack in your identity, because now trading becomes boring. And you don't want boring. You say you want consistency, but your behavior shows something else. You want stimulation, you want movement, you want action, you want to feel like something is happening. Professionals don't trade for stimulation. They trade for execution, and execution is repetitive, predictable, emotionless, the same setup, the same risk, the same process, over and over and over again. No excitement, no rush, no story. And that's where most traders break, because they don't realize they're not addicted to profits. They're addicted to feeling something. And the professional mindset removes that completely. So now you're left with a choice, not a strategy choice, not a market choice, an identity choice. Do you want to keep being the trader who feels everything, or become the trader who executes regardless of how they feel? Because you can't be both. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Because changing your identity means losing parts of yourself. The part that celebrates wins too early. the part that fears losses too deeply, the part that needs the market to do something. All of that has to go, and most people won't do it. Not because they can't, but because it feels like losing control. But here's the truth no one tells you. You never had control. The market was never yours to control. The outcome was never yours to decide. The only thing you ever had was your behavior. And right now, your behavior is controlled by an identity that cannot win. So this shift is not about becoming better. It's about becoming different. Colder, calmer, detached, not careless, not reckless, just unaffected. Because a professional trader doesn't react to the market. They respond to a plan, and a plan doesn't care how you feel. So the next time you sit in front of the charts, watch yourself. Watch the urge to enter early. Watch the discomfort when price moves against you. Watch the need to interfere. That's not the market. That's you. That's the identity. That has to break. And it won't break all at once. It will resist. It will justify. It will convince you that you're almost there. But almost is where most traders stay forever, because they never cross the line where trading stops being emotional and starts being mechanical. And that line is where your current self ends and the professional begins. But understand this clearly. You don't add the professional mindset on top of who you are. You replace who you are with it. And that is what makes this so difficult. Because you're not just learning to trade, you're learning to think like someone who no longer needs to feel anything to act correctly. No hesitation, no revenge, no attachment, just execution. Again and again and again. Until one day, you sit in front of the charts and nothing moves inside you anymore. No excitement, no fear, no urgency, just clarity. And in that moment, you'll realize something uncomfortable. The version of you who started this journey is gone, and the one that replaced it finally understands the market. Not because it became smarter, but because it became different. And that difference is quiet. No one talks about that part because it doesn't look impressive. There's no celebration, no breakthrough moment where everything suddenly clicks and fireworks go off in your mind. It's almost disappointing, because after everything you've been through, after all the losses, all the frustration, all the nights staring at charts trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, you expect the transformation to feel powerful, but it doesn't. It feels empty. And that emptiness, that's what you've been avoiding this whole time. Because the moment trading stops being emotional, it also stops being exciting. And for most people, that's where they unconsciously sabotage themselves. They'll take a good system, a clean process, a disciplined approach, and slowly start adding chaos back into it. Not because they're stupid, but because silence feels uncomfortable. No trades for hours? You start looking for one. A perfect setup but small position size? You increase it. Everything going smoothly? You interfere. Why? Because your old identity is starving. It needs stimulation. It needs drama. It needs to feel like something is at stake. But the professional version of you doesn't need any of that. And now there's a conflict, not between you and the market, but between two versions of yourself. The one that wants to grow and the one that wants to feel alive. And here's the part most people won't admit. Sometimes losing feels more alive than winning correctly. Because losing emotionally gives you intensity. It gives you a story. It gives you something to react to. But winning professionally, it gives you nothing. No adrenaline, no rush, no emotional payoff. Just a number on a screen that quietly increases over time. And if you're not ready for that, you'll destroy it, not all at once, but slowly. One impulsive trade, one ignored rule, one emotional decision disguised as intuition, and just like that, you're back. Back to the version of yourself that feels everything. And this is why the shift isn't a one-time event. It's a constant separation. Every day, every trade, every decision, you're choosing which identity you operate from. The emotional trader, or the professional. And the scary part? The emotional one never disappears. It just waits. Waits for a moment of weakness, a moment of overconfidence, a moment of boredom, and then it steps back in like it never left. That's why professionals don't trust themselves. Not in the way you think. They don't trust their impulses. They don't trust their feelings. They don't trust sudden confidence. They trust their rules because rules don't change based on mood. Rules don't get excited. Rules don't panic. Rules execute. And that's what you're trying to become. Not a smarter trader, not a more talented one, a more controlled one. Someone who can sit in front of opportunity and do nothing. Someone who can take a loss and feel nothing. Someone who can win and still follow the same process on the next trade. No deviation, no ego, no story, just consistency. And that's when it finally makes sense. Why most people never make it. Because this path doesn't just ask for effort, it asks for transformation.